All right, so right here I got a little over a 9-pound pork butt. I'm just gonna dry this off a little bit. I always like to trim a little bit of that fat cap off. I just feel like a lot of that fat is unnecessary. You always see me trim this stuff off. Now I'm just going through and trimming off anything that looks ugly. There's not really much on here to trim. All right, so I never usually use a binder, but I'm feeling wild and crazy today, so I'm gonna use some mustard, just a little bit on there. I always like that coarse ground black pepper, 16 mesh. And I'm trying to go through this Heath Wiles garlic jalapeno rub. All right, so now that we're all seasoned up, I got the Yoder Y640 pellet cooker heating up to 225 degrees. It's gonna be an overnight cook. It's gonna go low and slow. I'm not even gonna wrap it up or anything like that. I'm gonna check it after probably like 8 hours. We're just gonna cook it till it's tender, till it's fall apart and fall off the bone. Then we're gonna make a little cheesy sandwich. So here we go. All right, so like I said, just 225 degrees. I'm gonna let this cruise along overnight, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Alright guys, so it's the next day. This thing's been running just about 12 hours at 225. So we're just coming out of the stall. It's like 185. So the reason why it's been taking so long is because I've just been sitting here at the same temperature the whole time. So I'm just gonna crank it up to like 275. We're gonna push through this. I'm not gonna wrap it or nothing. And then I'll show you when it's done. 14.5 hours on the smoke, not wrapped at all. Totally unnecessary to cook it that long. I thought it was gonna be like 12 hours, maybe 13 hours. It went a little long. The bottom feels a little bit crusty on here, but all in all, it's pretty tender. I can feel it. It was temping just over 200 degrees. So if you're new to barbecue, you might think that the longer you smoke something, the better it is. But honestly, after like 4 or 5 hours, whatever you're cooking doesn't take on any more smoke, so it really doesn't matter. That's why people wrap it and it speeds the cook along. So I just left it on there. I just wanted to hang out and let this roll and just see how it turned out. You know, usually if we're doing a brisket or something like that, you don't want anything kind of charred up on the edges or anything. But if I wanted to speed it up, obviously I could have wrapped it right away. But, you know, I just let it go. So I'm gonna let this hang out 30, 45 minutes, let the juices kind of redistribute a little bit, and then I'm gonna make a sandwich. So while I'm waiting on that, got a small sweet onion, I'm gonna dice that up. Also got a few Serrano chilies. If you watch this channel, you already know, I put jalapenos and Serranos in basically everything, so it's just what I like. So smoking it like this did dry out the surface. I mean, obviously when you're sitting there smoking it that long, it's gonna get dried out. On the top, I mean, the inside is still really juicy. All right, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go out to the Blackstone. I'm gonna cook this the same way you would do like a cheesesteak. I'm using provolone cheese because I like the saltiness of the cheese, and I'm using that good old fake ass American cheese just for the melty and, you know, that flavor that you get from it. I know a lot of people don't like it, but if you don't like it, then don't use it. So, see you out on the Blackstone. All right, so I got the burners on high, heating up right now. I'm gonna let this get heated up pretty quick, and then I'm gonna turn the burners down to low just to let everything kind of chill out. I got some Duke's mayo. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the veg down first. Just a little bit of salt. So I got this Lily's Q barbecue sauce. I'm gonna put just a little bit down on top, just a little bit. Usually I'm not a fan of barbecue sauce, but it just sounds good for this time. right, so there it is, guys. Some sloppy ass, smoky, cheesy, pulled pork hoagies, cooked like a cheesesteak. All around, tastes really good. Like, how can you go wrong with cheese, onions, and serranos with that meat, smoky meat, tiny bit of sweetness from the barbecue sauce. But going back to cooking that pork, as long as I did, that's the first time I've ever done that, because every time in the past I've always smoked it for like, 5 or 6 hours, then wrapped it, and then sped the cook along, and then got it really tender. I just want to try something a little bit different. Although you do get a really good bark, it does dry it out a little bit on the surface of the pork, but the inside was still really juicy. In the future, when I do cook it like that, I'm just gonna wrap it as soon as I wake up, speed it up. Everything should turn out good. So if you made it through the whole video, like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Thank you, peace out.